Hello and thanks for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, INEC proposes 3-year jail term for vote buying. Governor Shettima meets with Defense Minister, Army Chief and Bichi over insecurity in Borno State as Senate condemns Zamfara killings, insists on state police, and later on the show, rice millers raise alarm over threats to success of CBN's rice initiative, says 20 million bags of rice smuggled into Nigeria in 3 months. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Afolabi Akinola. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. If periodic elections are the basic ingredients for deepening democratic culture, then no effort should be spared to enhance the process. Hence, the hues and cries over a new malady creeping into free and fair elections in Nigeria. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has proposed a fine of 500,000 naira or 3 years imprisonment or both for vote buyers and sellers in the country. According to the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, tough sanctions must be put in place to discourage vote buying and selling during election, which have become kind of menace to the electoral system. But ours is not the absence of laws, but the lack of adherence to them. Babajide, for those of us that we are always on the field during election and we are active participants in the process, we've seen the worrisome trend. And sometimes when we are doing post-mortem with our friends in government, we sit down and they will tell us the stark reality. Yeah. This has nothing to do with political party. At all. It has something, but a lot to do with the major stakeholders. Let's say the two, the two big parties, vote buying. Now, 500,000 naira or a month's imprisonment or both. But we've seen from Ekiti down to Oshun, down to the widespread syndrome during the 2019 general election that vote buying has come to, for now, to stay in our political system.
Yeah, it has come to stay. All it takes for Nigerians to get crazy about an idea is for them to see that someone adopted it and that person has been successful with it. Simple. Once we are very good copycats, we are not good at inventiveness, but we are very good at copying. Now, we had an election in Ondo State where vote buying was very, very, very rife. And after that election, that was where the slogan, the Bofuwako Sebe, that was where it originated from. And since then, every election that we've had, we've actually taken vote buying to greater heights. And it's getting worse. With every election, it's getting worse. We had an election in Ekiti where votes were bought electronically. People received a lot on their phones.
A day to the election.
That's one. We had elections in the northern Nigeria, governorship election in one of the northwest states, where people were not only being given cash, they were also being given phones just to simply go and vote. Some women got phone as well as what they call a tamper, that is 6 yards of cotton. This wrapper, this either Hollandis or anyone, or any of the local ones or those ones made here in Africa. That is the level to which it has sunk. In a state in Nigeria's northwest, people were given 25 kg bags of fertilizer as a means of buying their votes.
Fertilizer.
Yes, during the rerun. In fact, rerun elections will provide even bigger opportunities for people to make money by simply selling their votes. You know, I said it when people were saying, oh, money is not being released and the election has come. It doesn't even look like we are going to have elections. I said, these politicians know what they are doing. They are saving the money for the final push. And that final push is on election day. The kind of money that was spent buying votes in Nigeria in this last election is unprecedented. If they tally what was spent, honestly, each and every one of us should be ashamed of ourselves that we have reached this level. Simply buying votes. But the implication is grave for our democracy because this vote buying completely takes away the power of the voter to determine who rules him. So it is money now that is taking that decision. It's not your heart. That decision is not coming from your heart anymore. Once you've decided to sell your votes, that power that you have, you've given up that power. Do you get the point that I'm making? As long as you have not freely chosen that person, once it is money that determined your choice, your power to choose, you've given it up. So this is a big threat to our democracy. It's a big threat to our democracy. And if it continues like this, honestly, it will be extremely difficult for people. You know, they always say that democracy is expensive in Nigeria because you must have money to be able to take part in election. What vote buying has done is to even make our electoral process even more expensive.
Yes.
Because you must set aside
The money that I'm going to use to influence.
Yes, that is what matters the most now.
Yes.
If you spend all the money during campaigns and you don't keep the substantial portion of your money to buy vote on election day, you'll be dazed. Because the people who have made up their minds to buy money on election day, they will run riot with that money, and you that you deserve to win, you may not win.
Yes, it's a fact.
Afolabi, that means poverty basically will play a role for vote buying, to be rife like this and to be widely accepted. Because you can't tell me that you go to this, the developed countries and anybody will want to say, okay, take $5, I'll take $100 to vote for one person or not. So that means fundamentally these people are exploiting the poverty.
I think this is a very dangerous trend in the Nigerian democratic setting. I want us to quickly look at one thing. The last election witnessed poor patronage in the press as far as advertising is concerned. I raised this issue with some of my colleagues that politicians were less bothered about campaigns, heavy campaigns in media houses about their candidacy. Take a statistics of the number of adverts that ran on various stations in Nigeria about candidates vying for a particular post in an election. You will realize that it's almost at zero level. And this is because no amount of argument can vex or trying to sell yourself in a positive form to the populace that matters. Just like I said, until the election day. So it's a dangerous trend. If the media, which is the fourth estate of the realm, is never been patronized by any candidate for scrutiny, so that at least we can make an objective franchise on the election day, that's a big problem. But you also realize that in some opulent environment, even popular candidates, at least notable figures, lost in their polling units. In opulent environment, where vote buying were not easy. We saw the big and the mighty falling. It's a statistics that we all know. The big and the mighty in GRAs, we saw people voting with their conscience because nobody can become compromised at that level. Because there is a difference between hunger and fasting. There is a wide margin. But in an environment where, you know, 3 basic necessities of life becomes an issue, people were voting based on, you know, monetary strength, not on their own, you know, volition this time around. So you realize that the power of franchise, sovereignty that belongs to the Nigerian masses or the Nigerian people have been terribly assaulted as a result of vote buying. But by and large, let's look at it from this dimension. There must be an understanding between demand and supply. If legitimacy of vote buying can now be said to be sanctioned against, then we must understand that the law is cobwebby. The sellers are working freely. The laws, in most cases, might of course go against the buyers. So what I'm saying in all essence is that the poverty in the land has made it very difficult for an objective choice to be made. And let me tell you the most insulting vote buying I've ever seen. Paying salaries on the election day, or maybe election is tomorrow, now you're paying salary today. There are states where salaries have not been paid for months. You now know that, okay, election is coming tomorrow, you are paying. That, to me, is that legitimate vote buying. Of course, it's my salary, but you are paying my salary on the election day. So in all intent and purposes, I think it's a very sad development. Nigeria must, of course, and the press must rise to this occasion to defend the sanctity and the basis of the democracy in Nigeria. Because if you look at statistics, it's a research everybody must go and conduct. How many media houses were patronized for adverts? At least for candidates to come up and speak and let people know that this is what I can offer. So if the press has been jettisoned for vote buying, I'm afraid whether dividend of democracy can sell in any way.
The National Orientation Agency was good as dead during this 2019 election. I didn't feel the impact of maybe it's underfunded, maybe the agency is underfunded, or, you know, basic public enlightenment, like an organ like the National Orientation Agency. But the bottom line is that, Jide, we saw people even arrested during election day with, you know, money.
Serious.
Bags of money, you know, popular politicians all around. And at the point in time, EFCC, they were even engaged during this last election.
That's terrible.
Yes, to try and identify some couriers, that's areas that money will go. That means there was one particular politician that we were told that actually stacked money in his house and was waiting to disburse a day, 2 days to election. And they had to cut those people that will help him circulate the money. That's another way you can use to sabotage. Because to some people, if your money does not circulate, you will lose the election automatically. That's the way it's, if they don't get to see you, if this person is spending 10,000 naira and you're meant to spend 15,000 naira and they don't see you. It's as bad as that, Jide.
It's so bad. But you see, the EFCC cannot stop vote buying.
Where? Do they have the personnel?
They're not. This vote buying is being done even in the guise of house to house or door-to-door campaign. They are buying people's votes and causing people to swear to an oath that they will vote for them.
It's a fact.
It has reached that point. In Osun State, people were swearing to oaths.
Honestly.
Crossing Dengons.
Yes, crossing Dengons, drinking all sorts of concoctions because of money. In fact, someone told me that a friend of his who had received money from a rival political party, that in order to be that one told him, look, you can't stop me from voting for those people. It's already too late because I've collected money.
And I swore to an oath.
I don't swear to an oath. So what I can do is I will vote for them, but I will now do it multiple times.
So that it will be void.
It will be void. You will not gain my vote, but they too will not gain it. But technically, so he has voted for them.
Those voided votes.
It's a fact. It's correct.
Yeah, it deliberately, you see the level to which we have sunk. So just to be sure, And he showed him, you see, can you see? This is what
I had
what
similar thing. So that the God of thunder will not
I
strike.
will not strike and
all,
cut off his
The
head.
God saw that I also...
Amadioha, so that Amadioha will not cut off his head. You see, the thing is, when poverty is at the root of all this, because look, politicians, as I said on that ago, our politicians are a distasteful bunch. Yes. They are now weaponizing poverty. After making you and I poor, they are now using that as a weapon to keep us subservient to them. To make it difficult for the poor man
to resist,
to cause change to happen, to cause political change to happen. They will now go and be buying votes, giving people a tamper, giving people bales of cotton, giving people fertilizer that you should have supplied a long time ago. You see how devious these people are? Fertilizer that you should have supplied when the farmer needed it the most. You now wait until election time, and you now roll out 5 kg bags, and you are now giving.
You know they need it.
Of course. You see the thing, because our people have conscience. Once they've taken it from you, they will go ahead and vote for you. So this thing has really altered this whole idea of free and fair election. For me, an election that is punctuated by vote buying is no longer a free and fair election.
At all.
Free and fair election is not simply some thug in Port Harcourt snatching
ballot box.
It's not simply ensuring that some thug in Port Harcourt or Saple does not snatch ballot box. As long as vote buying is rampant, it is not a free and fair election.
Gives you undue advantage over others.
Yes, you are taking an undue advantage of the voter. A lot of our people now, that's PVC. You know, I said even before the election that people are holding on to their PVC. Some of them, when they are sleeping, is in their pocket. They sleep, they go around with it. Permanently, they go around with it. When they are sleeping, it's in their pocket. And they lie on that side where it is, so that nothing will happen to them. Because they think that on election day, that PVC will be
That's the meal ticket.
their meal ticket. That is the level to which election has sunk in Nigeria. And I don't think that if we do not come up with the right legislation to defeat this ugly trend, it will get worse. Because this is the way we are. We have to nip it in the bud from the beginning. Before it gets worse, we have to find the right legislation. I don't think that 3 years imprisonment with an option of fine.
500,000.
I don't think it's strong enough. Because the people behind this, they were arrested one small boy in Ilorin, and they were showing the boy's face all over the place. Oh, arrested for this. And I said, what of his sponsor? That boy does not have the money to buy vote. It's someone who gave him the money. We are good at arresting the innocent people,
Scapegoats.
rather than follow up to go and bring the big politician,
yes.
the big masquerade behind the boy. We will not do that. We'll simply make that little boy pay. Someone who is struggling.
Somebody will throw him under the bus.
No, that will not show. They will not even make any effort to arrest the big person. It's like what the Emir of Kano said now, that you are arresting political thugs. What are the people who sponsor them, who give them all the money to go and cut people's heads? As long as you don't arrest those people, you don't make examples out of them, the violence in our elections will not stop.
Afolabi, your last take on this?
Well, my last take on this is that conscience should be prioritized, because either we like it or not, if you sell your vote, then forget about dividend of democracy. If the dividends of democracy cannot be found anywhere as a result of your choice, then I think there is a problem. So, and again, our traditional rulers should please step into this matter, because the ball also, is in their court.
Okay. Moving on now. Strange and stubborn malady requires drastic measures. The Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria's northeast has dragged for far too long and stretched our capacity to a breaking point. In furtherance of efforts to check the menace of Boko Haram, Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno State had separate closed-door meetings with Minister of Defense Mansour Dan Ali and Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tuko Buratai and Director General of the Department for State Security, that's DSS, Yusuf Bichi. At the meeting, Governor Shettima and his team discussed issues of security and plight of the internally displaced persons, IDPs, in the states with the top security brass. Meanwhile, another security threat, armed banditry, rages in the northwest, prompting the Nigerian Senate to condemn the recent upsurge in killings of innocent people in Zamfara states. At plenary on Wednesday, the Senate reiterated its call for the establishment of state police to curb the menace. Governor Shettima, all through his 8 years, he has had to deal with the menace of Boko Haram across most of his local government, and maybe they don't even enjoy regular peace in even Maiduguri because IDPs, they still even involved.
The outskirts of Maiduguri.
So, him meeting with this top security chiefs now, I just think it's just to make sure that they continue the process, because there was a time that stability actually came a little bit, and he had to start building schools, he had to start building houses in those settlement areas that have been affected by Boko Haram insurgency. These people came back, destroyed most of this project. Yes. That would have been a very painful exercise.
Yes. What happened in
Bama,
Guzamala local government, for example, is painful. We lost more than 100 troops in that local government in one attack. And yes, there's even an epitaph that the army created in honor of the soldiers that were lost in that battle with Boko Haram. So after Buratai took over, they found peace. Then the governor decided to go and build schools, hospitals, even put a government lodge, like a place where people can stay, guests can stay and all that. And then these people came, chased the soldiers who were guiding the town away, the local government headquarters, chased them away, and set ablaze everything. Guzamala local government, they couldn't do elections there this last time. They had to send them to Monguno. They had to send them to Monguno to go and do elections. Very much like what happened the last time. Bama local government too, it did a lot of reconstruction in Bama that these boys went back and destroyed.
Very painful.
It's painful.
Money
for a government. When you see a governor like
Kashim
Shettima crying publicly,
that's terrible.
you see, it is pain from the depth of his heart. It's not like, oh, he should be man enough to keep this to himself. He's standing before the president and he's weeping like a baby. The pain is unbearable. And that's why when the president visited Borno State, you heard what the Shehu of Borno said. That as soon as we move out of Maiduguri, we are not safe. 3 kilometers outside of Maiduguri, we are not safe. He told the president, the traditional ruler. He told the president. So this is the reality, that we have an enemy that has not been defeated, no matter what we say. Now, this meeting, there is a place called Jakana. Jakana is in Konduga local government, just outside Maiduguri. You know that University Road. That road leads straight to Bama, Goza, all these places. But Boko Haram continues to attack people in those communities. They go to kill them in their farms. So what does that tell you, Ayo? What that says is that Boko Haram and then places like Minok, you know, in that same area or that community in that area, Auno, Minok. So what the military is trying to do is to say, okay, let us relocate our people from this area. Let's take them to an IDP camp. so that we can launch a full-scale onslaught on Boko Haram. Because, as I've always said, Boko Haram may not occupy a local government headquarters, but the hinterland, they control the hinterland. People can't move freely in the hinterland. So what are we talking about? So if the army has now said, okay, let's relocate, and they've started relocating people from those places because they want to now embark on a big push, a very aggressive push against Boko Haram in that area. That means that their intelligence and the constant attack from Boko Haram in that area has shown that Boko Haram men are occupying some parts of that area which they now use as a launching pad, as a place of refuge from where they go to attack our people in Jokana, in Minok, and all of these areas, right close to the university. So the places, those areas where they occupy currently, they want to launch a big offensive against them. That's why the governor is buying is important, because they will now move the people to an IDP camp for their own good, so that the army can go and flush them out of those communities where they are coming from to kill people. Last week in Minok, and that area, so we just glorify God because we passed through that area. You are going to Damaturu. You see that town, Minok. You pass through it. Our people still passed through it last week. I passed through that road several times. Boko Haram has been attacking that Minok. Boko Haram went to that area. People constructing road, construction workers. They attacked them, destroyed all their vehicles with all their equipment, heavy equipment. So there is a need, and you know, even the attack earlier this week on Damaturu, around the Benkalio estate, was also planned through that same route. So there is a need for a big offensive against this boy. Because what this means is that they have a base or a camp somewhere in that area. Forget the story that Boko Haram does not occupy any part of Nigeria. Forget it. Don't let anybody deceive you. Because if they do not occupy anywhere, where do they plan? Is it from outer space that they come and jump into our country to come and be killing our people? So the army now wants to flush them out of a place where the army is sure that they are occupying, so that they can now take them out of that place. But the problem for us is always when we send them packing. Do we have enough troops to put on ground?
To hold on.
Because you don't just send them. If you send them away and you don't put troops there, they will come back. They will come back. This is the problem. Let me tell you, this army under Burate, under General Burate, has captured territories, recaptured territories, captured territory, the same territory several times. Because we simply do not have enough troops to hold the ground every time we capture a territory from these bloodthirsty Boko Haram people. That's why we have to increase the troop strength in Borno State. I've demanded for that. But I appreciate that the army has other challenges across the country. So there's no way we can put all our soldiers. Look, even if we put all our soldiers in Borno,
will it be enough?
We can't defend the whole of the state. It's such a massive, big state.
Afalabi, in all this, it's a long drawn battle. It's taking money, taking human resources. You know, it's like since 2009 and it's 2019. This 10 years of insurgents in Nigeria, in the northeast.
My worry is that, just like he has said, for a governor of a state to even be shedding tears, it shows that, firstly, the people that gave me these mandates, the securities of their lives and properties can no longer be guaranteed, and it's very unfortunate. I think, again, the porosity of our borders, because I'm sure there are certain things, because these people are not planning from the moon. They are also planning from certain territories. The porosity of our borders should also be addressed. again, it's so sad that because Nigerian government is spending so much money to ensure that at least we put this to an end. And don't forget, the only pain I have as far as this issue is concerned is that foreign investment or direct investment, whatever you can call it,
To set those states back several years.
the level of backwardness as far as investment is concerned is now a forgotten story. Because I don't think any right-thinking human being will want to invest in those environments any longer. So it's painful.
That's the level
It's
of
sad. The level of attack and all that is just too
Destruction.
much. Destructions of lives and properties. But I think, again, the Nigerian states should see this as a challenge. It might be difficult. I'm not sure it's impossible to be addressed. With zeal, with patriotism. Because there's another thing. I've always argued conspiracy theories. Remember, let me give you this. During September 11 attack, I think another plane was also going to White House. But they defend it. So Nigerian people must defend themselves. And patriotism is needed.
All right, we take this commercial break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still journalist Dangat. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Still journalist Dangat, and we are looking at the crisis in the northeastern part of Nigeria. Babajide, now, going down, leaving Boko Haram now, there's still another measure of threats in the northeast, the northwest, particularly right now, and armed banditry. And the quantum of people, the number of people casualty that these bandits have claimed in the last 3 months. When somebody was trying to compute the figure of Zamfara State, I couldn't believe what they were putting together. Those are the reported ones.
Yes.
In Zamfara State, in Katsina State right now, what is going on right now, it's competing with the number of people Boko Haram have killed so far.
I said sometime last year that bandits in Zamfara are killing by far more people now than Boko Haram. Somebody abused me on social media. But
We've seen
it's
it
a
now.
good thing, because when people who have no access to the information that you have access to suddenly think that the best thing to do is to abuse you when you make a claim. You know, unfounded.
No, just because so that you won't rock the boats of the government, so that they will see you as an anti-government
he said,
element.
No, Brian Zamfara. Let me tell you, one, Boko Haram, 2 factions. One faction does not kill citizens. It merely kills soldiers and policemen.
That's their aim and objective.
Yes, that's the Mama Node stroke Banawi faction. It's not just that they kill. So that way, they've reduced the number.
Casualty.
If both groups were to be killing people,
That
then
massive.
the other group,
madman.
the Shekau group, is weakened. It's not as strong as the other.
So the other ones are the ones going to military.
They are the ones attacking army bases.
With
The
confidence.
attacks they are the ones who are running riot in Borno North. Borno North, as we are speaking now, about 10 local governments. More than 80% of those areas, people are not living in them. So that's where those boys are active. They are the ones who went to Baga to chase away soldiers from the multinational joint task force. The Navy, as at the last time I checked, the Navy has not even gone back to Baga after that attack. And as we speak, it's not the whole of Baga that we are in control of. Those boys are still in control of a portion of the place. So that's the devilish faction that kidnapped the Dapchi girls. So those ones, they really don't kill people. The other faction is weak. It's not as active as it used to be. They are the ones operating in this area that we are talking about, this Jakana, the Minok and all that. That's the other faction. They are not killing people like before. But bandits can kill 50 in one day, 60 in one day, 100 in one day. There will be occasions. Look at the way they slaughtered the civilian JTF of Zamfara. They went to confront the bandits. and you don't have the weapons that they have. They killed 50
At once.
at once. They have no...
And the same guys in Kaduna, as the bandits.
Yes, you know, it's the same forest. That forest connects them, Niger, Kaduna, right up to the Kebbi border.
They're becoming heavily notorious.
Right up to the Kebbi border. So they can move from the same with those their bikes. Because they use bikes to operate in all those, Benengwari and all those. They can move from that place, go to Katsina, you know, all of those areas and operate, coming through Frontier and all that, get to Katsina and be operating in those areas. So we have a big problem. The government has said it will address the problem, but the problem that I always have is that we will succeed initially, and then we will not be able to sustain the momentum. If only we can sustain the momentum, the effort of this government in defeating violence has worked in Benue State. I'm a living witness to it. They came up, and the synergy between the Air Force and the Army, it worked perfectly in Benue. You no longer read about herdsmen killing people, attacking Benue villages and killing people like we used to hear. It has ended. Even Otom came out to thank the president. So all we need is the right strategy. The right strategy. We'll come up with the right strategy, and we provide the equipment that the armed forces need. These bandits, in my view, can be defeated. And the people killing people for fun in Kajuru,
Kaduna,
that the governor calls reprisal attacks. His spokesman, what's his name, Aruwan, or what's his name? They call reprisal attacks. They also must be defeated, because these are sponsored killings. It's clear that some people are behind the masquerades, killing people as if it's a sport in Kajuru and all those areas in southern Kaduna. We must show that in Nigeria, the lives of people matter. Human life has become too cheap in our country. We just take human life for fun. It has to stop. There's no day that you won't read report that, oh, they slaughter people here, that they did this here, that they did that there. So, but that has to stop. We must defeat Boko Haram. We must defeat the bandits. We must keep our country safe for its citizens.
we must stop kidnapping
And kidnapping too.
all over the country.
Yes, no, it's those bandits, those bandits too that are doing kidnapping.
All right, moving forward now. Now, the one step forward, 3 steps backward syndrome has been the bane for our progress as a country for ages. The achievement recorded in the CBN integrated rice processing, which increased yields from 800,000 metric tons in 2014 to 1.6 million metric tons in 2018, could vanish soon. Chairman of the Rice Processors Association of Nigeria, that's Mohammed Abubakar, warned that smuggling is constituting threats to sustain the gains made in the project. Abubakar said between January and March this year, listen to this, over 20 million bags of rice were smuggled into the country. Afolabi, why do we ban importation when we know that we are not self-sufficient? Because what would have given this 20, if from January to March, 20 million bags smuggled into the country? That means they have demand, they have suppliers, and it's a very, very big investment.
Any policy that do not respect the law of demand and supply, to me, is more or less dead on arrival. If you ban importation and the basis of such ban cannot be justified, it will give room for people to, of course, work against the system. So importation, as far as I am concerned, I'm not saying policies cannot be, implemented and all that, but when you introduce policies, you must understand that sustainability of those policies depends entirely on the availability of resources on ground to make it popular.
Local production.
If local productions are not enough to meet demands of people, and you ban, And those who ban also have access to all these things behind the camera. Then it becomes nonsensical as a policy. It is true that we want to grow as a nation. In fact, the theory of comparative advantage is great, fantastic. That at least when you become more indigenous in terms of production and all that, it makes sense so that you won't depend so much on foreign goods and all that. But before you impose policies on people, you must understand that hunger is a very strong instrument in any society. If the availability of those resources are not on ground, it makes a mockery of the ban on importation itself. So it will find a way of connecting back into the system. So the resources on ground, of course, the availability of the resources on ground of the product in question are not much to meet the demands of the environment. So it will be a threat until we make policies that will address the needful.
The markets for foreign rice, smuggled rice into Nigeria, I don't think the customs, I don't think they can stop it. I don't think they have the capacity. No. They don't have the wherewithal because Nigerians are still buying this and it's still something that is still selling in our markets.
And it's a lot cheaper than the local alternative.
Really?
Yeah,
yes.
By far. That's why smuggling is such an incentive.
So why did you buy
if
it
if the price is at par with the smuggled rice,
why?
Who will be encouraged to go and risk his life and smuggle? It's because of the differentials. The margin is high. So smuggled rice is way cheaper than the local rice.
And well prepared.
It's way cheaper. It's not. It's because of that reality, people would rather go and bring in the foreign rice. Look at, if you go to Abeokuta today, the office of customs in Abeokuta, the whole warehouse is filled with smuggled rice that they've seized. Yet, every night those guys go out to raid. You can see them. They catch them, but the next day, they are out on the street smuggling again. So this is the thing. And it's like that everywhere. Whether you are talking about
rice,
or
the
Katsina,
consumption.
you know Katsina, there are many routes through which smugglers come into the country with rice. They are, even Daura, the president's hometown, is close to the border with Niger Republic. People bring in rice. They bring in rice into the president's hometown. Despite the efforts of the customs people. Because this thing, anything for which Nigerians can see clearly that there's a huge profit margin, you will want to kill them, they will not stop the business. And this is the way we are. At the risk of their lives, they will not stop the business. So this is the thing. So when the Minister of Agric mounts the podium and announces that we are producing the rice that we are eating, and they expect me to believe, I knew a day like this will come. Because look,
20 million bags from January to March.
Shebi, it is not we journalists. It's not we journalists that are saying
20 million bags. What will happen in a year?
It is rice processors. Rice processors who are saying that their businesses are now at risk. Rice millers, they are in trouble because of this excessive smuggling of rice. So, yes, the government is no longer committing. You see where Audrogbe and others are getting it wrong. I think that they can actually hoodwink some Nigerians and leave the problem of smuggling. Yes, government is no longer committing the kind of money that used to commit to importing rice. We've dealt with that. There's absolutely no reason for us to be spending huge sums of money to bring in rice into the country because we can produce the rice to feed our nation. Bayelsa alone can produce rice to feed up to 15 states in Nigeria. Bayelsa alone. What's this state? Taraba. Taraba alone one of the biggest states in Nigeria. Taraba is one of the biggest states in Nigeria. Taraba alone can produce enough rice to feed the whole country. Taraba has greater potential to produce rice than Kebbi. You know?
And Kebbi is known for the
Yes.
rice revolution.
Yes, because the governor has taken it upon himself.
Atiku Bagudu.
But this kind of, when smuggling is going on, we are unable to defeat the smuggling of rice. What is the future of the integrated rice mills that are the product of the efforts of Bagudu and the rest of them? Because we are hearing now that even people, farmers are unable to sell their paddy rice. Because you sell this paddy rice to millers. The millers are the ones who will turn it to fine, polished rice that you will feel like eating. But if they are refusing to buy from them, it's because they are making life, because smugglers are making life difficult for them. A time has to come in our nation when we will tell ourselves the truth and stop lying to ourselves. Because now, clearly, we may not, or we are not spending so much money
on importation.
We used to be the world's #1 importer of rice. That has ended. I give the government so much credit for that, for directing us to the reality that we can actually grow what should feed us. But the reality on ground is that we are not feeding our people with rice. The rice that our people are consuming on a wide scale is not rice that we are producing here. It is imported rice coming in, smuggled into our country.
Even Benin Republic,
through the land borders.
He's even known to have increased in the last 3-4 years.
Yes,
for importation, and they don't consume rice.
So people versus you know their ports are better run and all that. Versus conveying rice, bring them through Benin Republic. In fact, some are diverted from Nigeria to their ports, where those big-time business people who have invested in this imported rice will now get them offloaded for people to bring into the country. If you see a video shot in northern Nigeria, I don't know whether it was in Ilela or somewhere, or maybe it's in Katsina, dozens of motorbikes at breakneck speed, carrying bags of rice into the country, just chasing one another.
That's serious.
Long convoy, just coming into Nigeria like that. Coming into Nigeria.
Now the essence
That's
of
serious carnival.
banning it, and why don't you allow
We
people to
cannot,
bring it?
we've not reached the point that we can produce, that we can entirely feed ourselves. It will take a while. And then even the methods of producing rice, we have to embrace technology
so
to the point that
can refine it so well.
yield per hectare. When someone tells you that, Nigeria, they are producing the rice that they eat, then the question to ask is, on the average, what is the yield per hectare in the country?
And the quality.
So the yield per hectare, the average yield per hectare will show to you that we have not reached that point where we can feed our people with local rice.
When was the last time you ate local rice?
It's been a while.
Go to Daleko, go to the big markets now where they are selling rice. Daleko and the rest of them here in Lagos.
Smuggled rice.
How many bags of locally produced rice do you find? Even if people argue, because we have people who are professional argumentators, even if they argue about this point, the people who feel it the most, these rice millers, they are coming now to say, look, our businesses,
It's going down.
we are in trouble. That our businesses will die if things continue like
For
this.
3 months. What do you make of it?
And again for 3 months. And as you progress, the months ahead are demanding in terms of consumption.
I'm telling you.
Because we are moving towards
This Easter
Christmas,
period.
Easter.
No, Easter next week
So,
now.
No, even
Ileya is also
Ileya is
coming.
on the way.
So the months ahead are demanding months for
So
consumption.
that means
So the
smugglers will have a field
they
day.
will have a field day.
No,
So-
the Nigerian customs, they don't have the personnel to.
No, they try their best. They put their lives on the line.
Mm.
I was reading these people saying, customs men, they are conniving. There will be connivance. But on a big scale, go to any customs headquarters in any state. Rice, it will be bursting at the seams with bags of rice.
Sometimes when you look at the Federal Operation Unit,
You see rice
they're
everywhere.
Yeah.
and even cars that they seize. You can't say they are not working.
Even turkey. Imported turkey.
Yes.
Chicken.
And I think again,
Our people, despite that, they refuse. They just want to eat that thing. It's been banned, though.
Even I think some people even import stew from China.
Yes, egusi.
I think this.
They'll go and make egusi over there and bring it back to us. The same way they are bringing palm oil back to us now. When you see, I was telling my wife one day, you know, it's good to it's good to understand a little bit of words of Spanish words and English words. You see, sometimes you are buying processed palm oil. You think it's actually groundnut oil that you are buying.
That's clever.
You will see they will write oleum oil. Do you see it? Oleum. Palm oleum. That is palm oil. Check it. Oleum palm or something. You see, it's actually palm oil that they are talking about. So they send palm oil back to us, processed. It will now look like because it's been bleached. It will now look like vegetable oil. Whereas it's actually palm oil that we can produce in abundance.
I think this is even a big test for public relations. It is good to buy made in Nigeria, but made in Nigeria must be made sophisticated for attraction.
And do we have enough that can feed our market?
People like Dangote are coming into the business now. And this Dangote man is a very smart man. If you cannot stop smuggling, he will be one of the first to pull out of the business. That's what happened with his textile farm in Kano. Dangote used to have one of the 4 biggest textile farms in Nigeria. When he saw that smuggling was rampant, he decided to close the place up. One day I interviewed him, I think in 2011. I said, why did you close your textile farm? Dangote looked at me like this. He said, oh, you want to kill me? I said, no, I'm just asking a simple question. He said, smuggling is rampant, and the friends of the people in government are the big smugglers. So why should I continue to run a business at a loss? This is what is happening to these people now, for which they are raising this alarm that we must try our best. Government must try its best to defeat smuggling. And they are even suggesting that our neighbors, that we have to engage them. Because it's in the Nigerian economy that they are sabotaging.
They're benefiting from it.
Yes, so we have to engage them, find a way to get them to stop this smuggling. If we don't stop it, a lot of these rice millers will go out of business. And people will say, oh, another wonderful initiative of government is gone. It will come with unemployment and other ugly distempers.
It's just so sad that you can only stop what cannot be consumed if it is considered injurious. But since what is coming in is good for consumption, I'm afraid. So that's the problem. Because
it's good for jollof rice.
It's good for jollof rice.
It's better for jollof rice.
Jollof rice. So if it's so inviting for consumption, to stop is difficult because there will be high demand.
Not, you see, it is not as hygienic as our own.
Yes,
some of these rice bags that they are bringing into our country, they had been in their warehouses for up to 10 years. When they can't sell, they now take them to their feed mills so that they can give their pigs, give their chicken and all that. But they are cheap enough, having been in those warehouses for donkey years. They are cheap enough to be sent to Nigeria. Rice that you are cooking, you don't feel any aroma. Cook the local Nigerian rice. From almost 100 meters, you'll be perceiving the aroma. But these ones, you don't perceive any aroma. And we will be eating it. We are eating poison. We are excited about it. It's unfortunate.
I think we must prioritize patriotism. We must understand that Nigeria belongs to us.
Honestly.
And we need to promote people who are still trying their best to ensure that at least we have a great nation.
All right. Thank you so much, Afolabi Akinola.
So much.
Thank you for coming on the show. And the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Thank you. It's your week back, and hope we do it together next week. God willing. And that's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us for another episode of the show tomorrow. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. And we're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Bye for now. See you next week. God bless Nigeria.